All right, Lynn.
Hmm.
Uh, you are welcomed into the Devasas' home and their life. Uh, and there's a bit of that awkwardness still, as they're not quite used to having non-merfolk guests. But you're offered food. You have your four-person tent with an old friend and two new ones, and most importantly, you have found Lainey. Whatever complications come from this are almost a second thought because they're here. And now, if you wanted to talk a bit about how you were feeling.
uh, Flynn is. I don't think she's like completely without worry.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Particularly during the like first day that Motiva and Ashan are back at Strix.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, she. It is very hard for anybody to get her away from them.
Mm-hmm.
I think by the end of the day, she will start talking to other people, and I think she'll talk with Nefei first.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Uh, so I think something that's really fun actually about Nefei is that I do think a lot of your time is spent next to Elaney, sort of watching them, uh, kind of just like I feel like even the visual is comforting, you know, uh, seeing with your own eyes their state. But I actually feel like before you're like left alone with them for too long, probably by the end of the day, uh, Nefei probably comes to sit down next to you specifically with like these little it's almost like there's no way for me to describe this and make it sound appetizing, but I promise it smells good. It's like a fish paste that's specifically like kept sealed by like wrapping it up in seaweed. So think like if a tamale was like a fish thing, like a tuna salad
Oh,
tamale situation.
nice.
Yeah. And Nefei kind of comes to sit down next to you and offers you a bit and kind of like joins you in sitting near the water to look at Elaney for a little bit.
I think for a while Flynn is kind of quiet and is just like eating. Uh, and then eventually she's gonna kind of speak up. Uh, Say, keep having to look at them to remind myself.
I get it. I'm not gonna pull you away just yet. Uh, and you see that she again kind of has like a more relaxed demeanor than she has been for a while. Uh, and she kind of, I feel like idly watches Elaney in the water, almost as if there's a really interesting way that I keep wanting to describe Elaney in this water, and it feels like they are a part of the scenery. When you look at them in this water, they look like they fit, which I think is a really interesting uh, thing because as the water sort of ebbs and flows, they're kind of just like kept in this really still middle of this pond. And Nefei kind of takes a minute before going to talk. Again, kind of on topic and kind of not. As she says, the magic here is a little weird. Don't you think?
I have. I'm curious what you find from it, though.
You know, I guess the longer I'm away from Kaladesh, the more I think that my understanding of mana is strange. When I Aetherweave and when people in Kaladesh use mana, it's, for lack of a better way to describe it, pure. There's no real conduit. You don't even need to turn the mana into a spell to utilize it, to make it into something. So the idea of sun magic or a font of mana is, I suppose, hard to grasp for me as a spellcaster. Between you and me, though, I thought the idea of snarls was already strange enough when they told me about it in Arcavios.
I was just about to ask.
Mana, if it is doing its job, should be everywhere. So a place where it's more powerful, to me, seems counterintuitive.
I kind of get what you mean. The concept of places where there is more mana is not foreign to me. In Exandria, there are a number of locations around the world where magic behaves strangely for that very reason. But to have it so concentrated and manifest like this, it's a bit odd to see.
Where do you think it comes from?
I don't fully know. Part of me thinks it might be the gods here. Another part of me thinks it might be the blind eternities themselves bleeding in.
Well, if something like this has got you stumped, then it seems like a real mystery.
I'm sure there's someone out there in the multiverse who could tell us.
All of it is a bit over my head. I guess it's just... Well, I guess it can be kind of awe-inspiring how this big, wide multiverse that has the same kinds of people and air and languages, that they can still manage to be so different. You know, I really feel like I have a grasp on the laws of physics, and then I go to another plane and it throws it all out the window.
I think that's why I like it so much.
I think Eleni would too.
How are you doing now that we found them?
You know, I really would like a nice cold beer. It's... I don't... And you see, she actually goes to, like, look around to kind of, like, keep an eye on, like, how close people are, or if people are far away, if people might be listening. But she doesn't really lower her voice at all. As she says, saying I think that they're handling it wrong is incorrect. I can see that it's working. At the very least, it's not making anything worse. I don't like it. I think it's a mind like mine wants to find the most efficient way to do something and just do that instead of putzing around, but it's hard to be mad at them for it, you know?
I do. I know if we do end up taking them to the Snarl, it's riskier than here, which is why I asked Motiva and Ashan to ask around before we do anything, but I'm not going to lie, a big part of me really just wants to take them there.
I mean, Strixhaven University, the highest concentration of magic specialists and plane hopping nightmares. Someone has to know something, you know? It's a variable, but I feel like everything is going to feel like a variable in this situation. I never. She looks kind of pensive as she kind of like kicks a little bit at the water that your guys' feet are in. She kind of goes to mutter, I never knew. I never thought that what made them was so flimsy, I guess. There was a lot of worries I had during this, but maybe the way that Tuvasa talks about it is just a little spooky to me, I guess. I'm used to understanding things like mortal peril and realistic worries. Not something like this.
This is both the bane and the boon of having a multiverse that is so different, I guess. You see many wonderful things, meet many wonderful people, but I guess at the end of the day, we don't really have a way of knowing things.
For lack of a better way to say it, that's the human condition, isn't it?
I'm not wrong.
I really need to ask them if they have an alcohol. Culturally, every culture should have an alcohol of some kind.
Who knows? Maybe we can make it back at Strix. Introduce some new drinks to the menu.
That sounds fun. I'm sure Javanish and River would have a field day with it.
I know realistically I would not have expected you to have left with Shauna and Motiva, but I'm still grateful that you're here.
Well, one, they'd have had to have dragged me away. Two, I know that sometimes you like to have funny ideas. And you have a habit of putting your nose to the grindstone so hard it's almost sanded down. She goes to like swat at your nose a little bit. And situations like these are probably where I'm most suited to be. Someone's got to feed you and make sure our hosts don't get tired of us, and I guess I'd rather be here in case anything does happen.
I think Fun's gonna kind of look at her for a second. And she's just gonna say, "Can I hug you?"
Who do you think you're talking to right now?
She's gonna hug her and say, "My best friend."
Come here, you big baby. And she's gonna do that thing where she like hugs you and like shakes you a little, but not a lot. I don't know how to describe it, but this is a very hyper specific experience, I understand. We're gonna be okay.
We're gonna be okay.
I keep wanting her to just be annoyed and say I need a beer.
I wanted Philin to say this earlier, and then the conversation kept going. Philin at one point would ask, "Do you think we could get lucky out here?"
It would definitely take us a while to backtrack, but we could definitely try. Oh, I guess actually, no, I guess it would be shorter to go straight here. God, we really went on a roundabout, didn't we?
No, we didn't know.
So close and so far.
I do think one last thing that Philin is going to bring up during this hangout time is at some point, I feel like Philin is like finishing up eating one of the little fish tamales, and is going to kind of realize something, and is going to look at Faye and say, Did I tell you I'm pregnant?
You what? Huh?
Puts the fish tamale down.
Huh?
So I'm pregnant.
Yeah, I bet you are. Have you... One, if you're happy, I'm very happy for you. Two, I'm going to refrain from asking the specifics of what you were doing for health reasons. But if that was on purpose, congratulations. And if it wasn't, we're gonna get you set up in him with a nice little tea to take in the morning. Because you guys christened every single surface you could find in that school. For clarification, she's trying to be very polite about not like abortificant, but also like, why weren't you taking birth control? I bet you were. If you weren't taking birth control, you guys were fucking all the time. Of course you're pregnant.
Yeah. Man,
Man. I love having people react to it. I always think it's fun.
it's very fun.
I also like, again, because I love to remember this, because you obviously have only told one person, Nefei is like, well, of course it's Elaine's then. You fuck all the time.
I feel I do feel like someone like takes like one little bite and it's like technically I don't know for sure if it's theirs.
Flynn, you dog.
It's only between them and one other person.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Who am I to judge? I've seen the skimpy little outfits you wear to your little cheerleading club. I understand.
That's the uniform.
Yeah. I bet it is.
Everybody wears it.
Don't worry, I know.
Nefei.
I am allowed to have eyes. I'm allowed to have correct opinions on what my eyes see. Xanther without a shirt on is a very nice view.
It very much is. If you see anyone you're interested in, I can put in a good word.
I will keep that in mind. Maybe it is time for this Bandari to start making some personal connections. And you see that she's like pushing her hair back a little bit. I love you guys so much.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. I think that like Nefei herself doesn't have a lot more unique things to say that I had written up. But I think that like you guys spend a lot of time here, and you've spent time with Nefei before, right? But like, I would venture to say that you're not necessarily that close with Nefei, but I think that this moment kind of has soothed any of the strife of this journey, and I feel like by the end of it, you do feel a lot stronger of a connection with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Friendship.
Haha, friendship. 1 second. Alrighty. You have that lovely moment with Nefei. I would love to hear if there are other thoughts you're having or things that you want to try doing. Nefei is probably the one that would have approached you on her own, which is really funny considering she's the first one that talked to you.
I think. I think after that, she's probably gonna ask for those spare clothes that she can borrow if they have any.
Definitely.
Particularly because she's probably gonna go under Tawater and do her dream message thing.
Slay. Hell yeah. I would love if you could walk me through what kind of dream messages you would like to be sending. I imagine this is maybe like a couple days, maybe not quite a week. And I know that you said that you were now having Flynn kind of give feelings and like sensations and like images instead of words. So I would love if you could talk me through that.
Yes. I think word-wise, whenever she dream messages Eleni, it's kind of just to give updates or tell them about, like, what happened around the spring that day.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of feeling, I think she's always going to try, at the very least, the feeling of her, like, holding their hand, if not just holding them,
Mm-hmm.
or, like, carding her hand through their air quotes hair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. She's gonna try and send visuals of Eleni themselves as well as the spring. I think that first night in particular, she's also gonna try and send the visual of Nefei when she was talking with her.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that a lot. Okay. Hold on. You send them, and now it's less jarring when it sort of immediately pings to you that it's complete, right? Basically now anytime you send dream message is a immediate message to Eleni. Right? And I think what is the most interesting for you is not that experience, but the dreams and sensations that you get in return. And they are similar to some of the ones that you have already had. The sensation of being underwater, the sensation of warm water. Almost like a mimicked visual or sensation of being held by Eleni. This very specific one sticks out to me of like a mimicking dream of the one you gave Eleni of like carding fingers through their hair. And each time you get it, the hair is a little longer. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I think that what is the thing that sticks out the most in each one of these is that they are very familiar but very different, because there's always like one thing that is always unfamiliar in it. And I am willing to tell you because I think that you are a very insightful person. And I don't think that it's a stretch to say is you wonder if like even like they are trying to piece together those pieces, you know? Like aspects of their identity, or at the very least, how they are showing you themselves is changing a lot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And whether, you know, however Falin feels about that is however she feels about it. But it's something. And it's not just like, oh, every once in a while, it is every night. You get the feeling that you know what the Tuvasa meant, where they're like, yeah, they're conscious and they're doing stuff. You know what I mean?
Things are happening.
Yeah. And it kind of is shown in like other moments as well, where I can now talk about this because I don't mind talking about this because it's something that you already literally picked up in your little tinfoil hat theories. Like they are able to use spells or spell-like abilities on the people around them in this area. More times than not, there are moments where the water moves a bit unnaturally or like curls around you, especially when you go down to visit them. It feels like sometimes a wave will move in a very unnatural position against you, you know? It happens when there are arguments. There are no real disagreements the entire time you're here. Me hitting the whip, Celestial Accord, am I right? A lady said no fighting.
No fighting.
There is that sort of ever-present light even whenever it's dark, because during the daytime the sun amplifies the light that's already here, but you tell each night that happens that Eleni is absorbing at least some of that sort of ambient energy, right?
Mhm.
And I think that you have this spell, so I think you know what it feels like. I feel like there are some times whenever you are trying to do something, where you kind of just feel that little push to do a bit better, like a guiding hand on your arm.
Aw.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the stuff that you pick up through your time specifically being near Eleni, and using Dream Message. The reason why I brought up the scale is I wanted to remember if you guys had them, because whenever you actually get in the water and you get down near Eleni, I don't know if I remembered to point this out in the last session, but you actually see that the scale that they had from that encounter actually has now been made into like a necklace, with sort of this fiber, like this sort of fiber thong around their neck, but it's sort of like inlaid with jade.
Mm.
Uh, I don't think it's a stretch to remind you, Eleni didn't really have anything on them whenever this happened. So they really had the clothes on their back and then that scale.
Man.
Yeah. So I think that it makes sense to say that, like, and if you ask, I think they would also tell you that the Tuvasa figured that it had a significance to it. So they made something for it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man.
This is also where I'm gonna say this is a bit above table, but it's because I don't exactly know how they would talk about it. I tried to have the Great Shaper Tuvasa mention this. Also, sorry if it's confusing. Calling the river the people and the leader Tuvasa. That's how they do it. I tried to have the Great Shaper when she was talking about have it sound like that, but they are like at least partially aware that Eleni has some connection to divinity because of their ability to do these things, right? I wouldn't necessarily say it goes as far as like in one of your theories where it was like, oh, they might be like worshiping them, but I think that there is like a very strong reverence, and there is a bit of attachment to them and helping them. So do with that with what you will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know also that you had a couple other people that you wanted to talk to, but I also remember that you were wanting to potentially do something with trying to share mana.
Yeah.
I would love if you can kind of talk me through your Orphelin's thought process, and if there's like a particular thing that you want to try to do it. Even if it's something as simple as like put your hands on them and try, then that's like fine, but I would love for you to like zhuzh it up. Like to tell me a story. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Fullen's thought process, because she is a magic-based healer,
Yeah.
and so to her it's like, okay, well, when I heal someone, I'm using my mana and shaping it to help their like body heal.
Yes.
So I think she's going to approach it in a similar way, but
Mhm.
instead of like trying to weave the threads, as it were, to be like a healing spell, she's gonna try and just put the mana in there.
Yeah, 100%. That's a really fun one. I would like you. I'm going to give you a choice here. I want you to either give me an Arcana or a Religion check. They will be different DCs and technically do different things.
Arcana is higher. but religion is spicy.
It's true.
I think because she's approaching this from a technicality of magic standpoint, we'll do Arcana.
Slay.
And I'm making the check.
Yes.
Slay.
I like letting you guys roll the dice sometimes.
Oh!
Yeah.
That's one.
Okay, cool, Slay. What's your bonus? Nat 20 plus what?
Plus 13.
Okay, Slay. Okay. Okay.
33.
Okay, Slay. I get to tell you something kind of fun and kind of spicy. So, you put your hands on Eleni. And you are trying to use every single thing that you have not only learned about arcane theory in your time as a Luxonite cleric, but also in your time at Strixhaven. Your time at Strixhaven has been able to really bolster your understanding of your own abilities to sort of like pluck at the threads of your own magic and the magic around you and kind of twist what those things can do, right? And so you are trying to take your spell casting and like turn it into its most base form to push it out. And because you're doing it in a very like theoretical manner, I feel like this sounds cold, but I feel like there's also an experimental tinge to this. You end up kind of taking that mana and pushing it into Eleni and waiting to see if they grab hold of it, right? Waiting to see if they are intaking it themselves, right? And it is very hard to tell if that works, but it doesn't fail, if that makes sense. There's this thing in experimentation and hypothesis and theory and research where there is not just pass fail. There are multiple steps of seeing how something works. You get the feeling that there is something here, even though you don't necessarily see a change in Eleni and you don't see them stir. There is comfort to me in knowing that something doesn't make something worse. You know?
Yeah.
Can't hurt.
Can't hurt. Might help. Okay, I think as long as it doesn't seem to be hurting them or like detrimental to the healing process, I think like at the end of each day she's gonna put whatever remaining mana she has into Eleni.
Ooh. I like that. I like that a lot. I have a fun question for you then. And this might seem like a stretch, so bear with me, right? So elves in our game, they trance, right? But like you can still like get so exhausted that you pass out. That happened, last episode. Do you think you are basically trying to give a surplus of your mana to Eleni, like to the point of like exhaustion and sleeping to recover it? Or are you still being like very conscious of your own health?
I think for once she's gonna be conscious of her own health.
Slay.
She won't do surplus, but
yeah, I definitely wasn't going to do anything to like the egg or anything. It's just I like to know because I'm keeping track rapidly of everything that is happening to Eleni. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I think
yeah.
The conversation that she had with Nefei, where Nefei was like, "Gotta make sure you don't fucking do anything. Gotta make sure you're taking care of yourself." Lynn was like, "Okay, fine, I'll take care of myself."
Yeah, okay, I won't make Nefei's job harder. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Slay. Okay, cool, Slay. I'm gonna write that down. That's awesome. Hell yes. On the topic of magic and also mana, aether, and the like, uh, I'm gonna give the floor to you in case there is anything else you would like to either try or ask me about. Um, if this sort of like, if you think this is new information, both from the dream message and from trying this, if like Valen is feeling or thinking any particular things, I would love to hear them, honestly. I think stuff like this is really fun.
Yeah, I think now that she's like seeing more how Eleni is like directly affecting
Mm-hmm.
the fucking outside world, she is now starting to probably make that connection or run or wonder about the connection about whenever a thing went missing from her bag and whenever uh, there was that calm emotions thing at the inn.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like honestly, even like one night in Dream Message, she'll kind of idly ask if that was them. I don't think she's expecting a wordful answer to it, but she's like kind of wondering about to herself and to them.
Ah, that's a very fun question. Do you think that that is a general question, or do you think you ask it about a specific instance?
I think she'll ask it about a specific instance because there's the two things that she's wondering about specifically.
Slay. Do you think you ask about like both of those things, or do you pick one of them?
I think she'll ask both.
Slay. Slay, 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 slay. Okay. I have to look up something.
Oh.
I love when I have to look up something. It means you guys are being really, really creative. This is hard to describe because this technically, in the way that a spell works, wouldn't work, right? But I think that because of Eleni's state, it would technically work anyway. I actually feel like when you go to like settle yourself down and you send that dream message and it's received, sometime within the next 24 hours of that, you kind of, maybe when you're doing literally anything, you kind of feel that sort of wash of magic that you felt specifically during that time where it stopped a fight. But by the time you get your dream message, it doesn't seem to have a reference to that question. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. I think that's how that would be handled.
Delightful.
Yes. Also, I keep thinking about how cool it is that you were putting mana into Eleni, and I thought of a really cool way to describe it. So you know how like I feel like the way that it feels when you're doing it is like you are pushing flour through a sieve, but only some of it like doesn't go through the mesh, right? That is what it feels like trying to put mana into Eleni.
Oh.
Yeah. And so that's what I meant when I was like, you're just trying to pump mana in to see if any stays. That's kind of like how I am imagining that specific supplementing of mana is like working. And if you have other ideas, feel free to tell me them either now or like later whenever you guys come back and start doing your plans and stuff like that. Because you guys can always change up how you're doing stuff. It's just that's how it worked this time.
Yes.
Yes. Slay.
Yes.
Slay. Okay.
Wow.
Wow. Experimentation. I love trying new stuff. Okay, Slay. I know also that you told me that you wanted to talk to Vasa and also the lesbians. So whenever you want to do either of
Yay.
those, you can.
I feel like Fulham will go ahead and talk with the lesbians, probably during the second day, because I think she wants to have this conversation pretty early on.
That's super fair. I actually think something really fun is that the second day is probably when they come back, because they had to go back to tell their guys.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
So it's probably around dusk that they come back. A little bedraggled, but they are kind of helped back in. And they sort of settle down at this. Because you remember there was like this like ruin thing that was kind of like up above the water.
Yes.
They kind of settle down and like Verona empties out some water in her greave. And Renata is kind of like wringing out the bottom of her skirts and petticoats whenever you come to like kind of like approach them.
I feel like whenever Philette approaches, she kind of idly does some prestidigitation to like dry off their clothes and armor.
I really need to learn how to do that. You've been
It's
a
very handy
blessing the entire time I've known you.
stuff.
How are they? Renata is asking.
About the same as when we first arrived, which is to say, much better than they were. That's why I'm thankful. Otherwise, not much has been happening with them. Now that you're back, I hope it is not too annoying of me to ask if you would be willing to talk about Strixhaven.
Oh, no, it's not. Come, sit. The inclination to be a host is strong, but I don't have anything to offer you, but our company.
It is a perfect thing to offer. She'll go ahead and sit, and she'll put her hands in her lap. And she will look to Renata and say, I know we talked about Renata and Verona. Renata and Verona?
Yes.
Okay. I know we talked with you already about how Verona would more likely than not be able to come with you to Strix. That will take some talking with administration, so I wanted to ask if you would be willing to visit Strixhaven on your own first. Only briefly, so that you can get a feel for it.
Hey, so this is a roll. Give me a diplomacy, because you see almost instantly that the kind of like a politely interested expression turns sour.
Okay. Diplomacy?
Yeah.
23.
Okay. there is this thing that happens as you talk and you say that, and again, that sort of like souring of an expression. You get like Renata has this very youthful cast to her face, so she's very expressive. And you see that she goes to kind of fold her arms, giving all the look of a petulant child, as she says, "If Verana can't come with me, I'm not going." And you see that Verana actually goes to sigh, and she says, "My lady, if you have to go to see it and talk to them, then that's okay." And Renata says, "I'm not going." And Verana is just like, "Renata."
I understand your hesitance. It would only be for maybe a day at most. I really only intended to take you on a tour, so that you may get a feel for where you and Verana would be staying.
One second. Okay, cool, Slay. So make me another diplomacy check, but you get a +1 because Verana is trying to aid you.
Thank you, Verana.
Which is a really funny concept. As you're both like kind of coaxing Renata to warm up to it.
That was a worse roll than last time. I got a +1.
No. Yeah, you got a +1.
That's a 16.
16. Renata kind of like looks at you and like doesn't look as displeased, but she does look still kind of put out as she looks at you and what you're saying. And she goes to like look at Verana and almost like quietly, not like trying to hide what she's saying, but almost as if you're not there. And she kind of looks at Verana and says, "What? How can I even know if they're going to let me come back? If I go there, how do I come back?"
Oh, we have scrolls.
And they'll give me one.
Yes.
Whenever I want.
I'm sure we can ask. At the very least, they can give me a scroll whenever I want, and then I can take you back.
I have to ask, Flynn, are you telling the truth?
She is.
Slay. Let me look at something really quick. Every day I have to have so many sheets open at once. Every day. I did this to myself.
Many NPCs, that boy.
You see that she kind of looks between the two of you, and she sighs. And she just goes, "Fine. But I'm not staying."
I understand.
One day.
Yes, one day.
24 standard hours. One day.
You have my word.
Okay. Okay.
We will likely... That tour will likely not happen until my partner is fully healed, but I did want to get that out of the way and discuss technicalities and whatnot. And as well as if you have any questions about Strixhaven.
What do they do there?
Oh, all kinds of things. She is going to start info dumping about her school.
Slay. Do you think that there are certain aspects of it that she kind of like, I don't want to say upsells, but she talks about more than others?
I think in particular she does focus a lot on the like you can do fucking anything. Like she'll list off like all the different colleges and what you can do there and like the different majors that she's seen people go into and all the different clubs and extracurriculars.
Hmm. And all of this is alongside the Planeswalker education?
Yes.
Hmm. Interesting.
For your first year there, you'll be in the first year dorms, so you won't be into a specific college yet. But you will be with other planeswalkers.
I see. Okay. And how many of you are there?
Oh god, how many of us are there?
You're kind of a lot now, I'm not gonna
There's
lie.
a lot now. I have to count.
Yeah.
Oh god. Shit.
I don't even know the number, so good luck. Tell me
Oh
when you
God.
find out.
I'm gonna go through the fucking student directory and start counting.
Nice.
I think there's 16 when we're not counting Onyx.
That sounds right. Because I think the way that I did it in the first years, I think that there was 12.
Yes. Okay, so Flynn would answer that is about 16 of us, 3 of which are first years currently.
Oh. And you're not.
No, I am the second year.
So it's been going on for 2 years.
Yes.
And I was only invited this year.
I'm guessing it's because they weren't aware that you're a planeswalker until recently. There's some kind of process for finding them, though admittedly I am not familiar with it.
I see. You are a student after all. That is not an irrational thing to say. You get this feeling that she's like sussing out most of the things that you're saying, not because she like is turned off by any of it, but she's just like, If she had a beard, she would be stroking it. You know what I mean?
Pondering.
Yes, pondering the school. So this dorm situation, we all have rooms?
Yes, they are usually shared. The first 3 planeswalkers are already sharing a room. So if you bring Varana, you might be able to get your own room for the 2 of you. You might also be able to get housing off of campus, though I'm not familiar with that process. Giselle.
So good.
She would kind of perk up and say, Giselle, who is one of the planeswalkers, she's the friend who got her mom over. You could probably talk with her and she could be of great help
You see that this is the first time she looks actively pleased, and she goes to kind of like nod, and she's like, "Yes, a private room sounds very acceptable." The colleges. How does one get one?
Well, after you pass your first year, there will be a ceremony. It is in line with the graduation ceremony for those who are leaving Strixhaven. But you will speak with the Oracle, and you are free to choose whichever college you wish to go into.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Sorry for the immersion as she is staring into the middle distance and thinking.
I'm enjoying this greatly.
And I suppose I should ask. It is a bit of a touchy subject sometimes around here. How well is vampirism accommodated?
Oh, very well. You recall when I said I donate blood?
Ah, yes.
They have a program there specifically for vampiric students.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mhm.
There are many then?
Yes.
Ah, like-minded individuals. Lovely.
I'm not fully aware of what all may be different between the vampires of Ixalan and the vampires of Arcavios and Strixhaven. But vampires.
But vampires, this is very exciting. Please, do not misunderstand. I do not only prefer the company of vampires, but it is a unique struggle, and it is nice to interact with others who have a similar calling. She smiles.
Yes, I understand that. Strixhaven, as a school in general, is very accommodating to all of its students.
I think that sounds lovely. Maybe it shows my own misgivings, but the idea of a location that is available and accepting of people from all walks of life is quite novel to me. Most places on Ixalan tend to favor a certain kind of individual. As I'm sure you've seen, we are a very segmented plane.
Yes, I have noticed. You will not have to worry or think about such things.
Delightful.
Oh, that is one particular spot on Silverquill campus that I think you would adore. And she's gonna start talking about the Great Room.
That's a cute one. I think that you would love it. You're right. I didn't even think about that. Oh my gosh, every kind of which way to be pampered. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. You feel like she looks like forlorn as you talk about it. And she's like, "Oh, Verona, it's been so long since we've had a real bath." A real one with soap. Uh, uh, oh, I do think that she actually would have a question. I think that she would ask about, if it is a college. So something really funny happens when she's talking about this, and so I get to share another piece of thing. Whenever she's like, how, if this is a college for planeswalkers, how do they handle non-spellcasters? Renata thinks that this is a school for planeswalkers, not a magic school that has planeswalkers in it. Which is very funny.
I understand. This is actually very funny in the context of Philin saying, "Oh, there's 16 of us." Like,
Yeah,
wow,
literally.
a whole college just for 16 people.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. I mean, to her, like, a planeswalker is the most powerful person to exist. You know, fair enough.
I feel like with that realization, Philin is gonna kind of perk up and say, "Oh, well, there are actually many curriculums not based on spellcasting, as well as not even strictly mental subjects.
Oh.
Most of the students' body at Strixhaven is not actually planeswalkers. We are part of a program at the college for planeswalkers.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
And they know?
For the most part, yes.
I see.
Admittedly, most of the non-planeswalker students don't tend to engage as much with the planeswalking aspect. But it is, yes, but it is largely no different from, I suppose, non-planeswalkers' relationships to planeswalkers here, though without quite so much connotation. I guess I can't really draw an exact comparison.
I imagine that actually might be common. My knowledge of other planes themselves is very lacking, as most people would, but I mean, planeswalkers can't have done what they do here to every plane they go to. I imagine it has to be a little different.
Different planeswalkers do different things.
I'm sorry, the way that you said that was very funny.
Thank you. Like, I am not gonna fucking info dump the atrocities to you right now.
Literally, you aren't even enrolled yet. I can't do it right now. Renata would just kind of go to mess with a bit of her hair and give a light shrug and says, I can imagine so that it might be a bit more segmented. Many people in Ixalan know of planeswalkers and are aware of them. We even know the names of some of the more prominent ones that have visited. But it's not like the average person knows a lot about the intricacies of how it works or what they do, myself included.
Well, hopefully by attending, you can expand your knowledge.
Absolutely fascinating to think about. Technically, you know more about how planeswalkers affected Ixalan than Renata does, actually, because you know about the Immortal Sun.
Yeah!
I'm sorry. That's why I got really quiet. I was thinking about it. I was like, oh.
Yeah, there's a lot that Fallen is not going to get into right now because she's like, we've already technically kind of rocked your world by being like, come with us to another fucking universe.
Literally. Jesus Christ. Every day, a new person has to react to the fact that planeswalkers exist and do whack shit. And I have to be like, oh
Yeah,
god, oh fuck. I normalized it in my head, but this is whack.
yeah.
Hell yeah. I actually think something that's really interesting about this conversation is that she doesn't have a lot more questions about Strixhaven. It really feels like as long as Renata can stay with her, Verona can stay with her, and like the fact that it just like is there, she is like bare minimum interested in seeing it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, whether or not it's showing her actual interest in school or if she like has a frame of reference for something like higher education, you're not really sure, but she's just kind of like, okay,
All right,
yeah, why not?
we'll take it. Slay.
Hell yeah.
Um, whenever Fallen talks to Tavasa, it is just to ask like, is there anything I can do to help around here?
Slay. So I do have stuff for that as well. Tuvasa herself is like a little bit confused but appreciative of like Flynn trying to ask to help around. And so you're given tasks, but I don't even think that this is a check. You're given like really simple tasks. Like the kind of task you would give a child.
Oh my god.
So Flynn can if Flynn is satisfied or dissatisfied with that, that's whatever, but that is like the kind of thing you would be given.
Mm-hmm. I feel like part of her is a bit grumbly. Because she's like, I can handle more than this, but she's also like, at least it's something.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, so there's definitely stuff that you do help around with. A lot of it would maybe be like helping like carry things, maybe help wrap the little fish seaweed tamales, that sort of thing. Yeah. Um, awesome. I think if that's it then I can pause and get Ashton in here.
Yeah. The only other thing that Philin would do that is worth noting is she do be praying.
She do be praying. Hell yeah. You do be praying. If you want to give me specific wording in the next like hour and a half while I'm doing Ash's stuff and like DM me prayers, that could be fun if you wanted to do that.
I would love to.
Hell yeah. Okay, cool. I'll pause the recording and get out and at Ash so Ash gets in here.
Yeah.
All right, Motiva. You walk and you pass through that snowy forest and find your way back to Strixhaven. I would love if you could tell me where on Strixhaven you would like to walk to.
I think she actually goes to her dorm.
Yeah. You walk and you find yourself in your little alcove in your maze of a room that you share. And the window is closed, but everything is how you left it over a week ago. I don't
Okay.
imagine you've spent a lot of time in here since Eleni ignited. So I would like you to walk me through a bit how Motiva is feeling and what she would like to do first.
She's gonna breathe.
Mm-hmm.
She's no offense if you use the Ixalan art, she will be putting on different clothes.
That's totally fair. Do you have a preference? I can set that up while you're talking.
Just her casual clothes. She just wants to feel normal.
Slay. I'll figure that out while you're doing stuff.
Yeah. She's like breathing. She's taking a second. She's like putting down some of her stuff and she's going over a list in her head of what she wants to do. And only after like spending like probably like a solid minute recollecting herself and just being like, okay, let's do this. And she goes to send a text to Ashawn, which I will actually send.
Hell yeah.
The text reads, for whenever I listen back to this, where are you now?
Slay. Okay, awesome. Stuff is moved around. I'm gonna go. Text. Awesome. Sean's gonna text you back. Pretty immediately. I'll say within the next like minute or so.
Mm-hmm. Not to be a little homosexual, she looks very relieved. And she just immediately starts walking to student resources.
Yeah, most definitely. You go through Silver Cold campus, feeling a bit more normal now that you're kind of dressed in your casual clothes. And because they're like clean and new after wearing kind of like the same outfit for a while, there's something about it that just makes you feel more clean, even though you haven't technically had a bath yet today. It's just nice. I know you guys have Presto, but there's nothing that beats like clean, fresh clothes, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a mental thing, I know, but like it feels really nice, you know?
Feels far more real.
Uh-huh. But you hot step it over and you're not really stopped by anybody. Which I think is a really fascinating thing to kind of revisit whenever we talk about extraction and planeswalker stuff. The majority of people here on Strixhaven truly have no idea what is happening in your life. You know?
Yeah. Honestly, thank God. If somebody did try to stop her and be like, hey, Goob, hi, Motia, I think she would start screaming.
Yeah, literally. Just look at them and go, ah!
Yeah, so this is for the better. This is for good.
Awesome. So you go and you head over to the Biblioplex and you hoof it. Actually, no, you're on your broom. I forgot. Apologies, sire. You're flipping around on your broom and you get over to student resources. And you see a telltale Ashan, not standing on the ground like a normal person, kind of sitting on the edge of the roof. And whenever he sees you, you see his head kind of perk up a bit, to see you, as it is also a relief kind of to see him as you kind of fly over.
Ooh, gay people in my game.
Yeah, gay people. I wanted to ask if you were doing or saying anything to open the floor.
Yeah, I think Motiva's gonna like take a second and she's gonna look at him and she's just gonna say, "It's been really hard."
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I feel like if people asked me, I wouldn't call this place home, but feels nice to be back.
Yeah, it really is.
Come on.
How's everything? Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, he's just gonna pat the roof, and he wants you to sit next to him. But you can go ahead and ask your question because that's a good one.
She's gonna park herself and sit down, and she's gonna say, "How's everything been?"
Not as chaotic over here, really. Talked to a couple people, got some opinions. Didn't want to ring the bell on everyone yet, though. So.
Whose people?
I told Onyx, talked to Dariga, which is why I'm here.
Okay.
And that old married couple you liked so much.
Really? They let you in?
They did. They correctly assumed that I would have information on their little Miva, and you see he goes to like pinch your cheeks. But I didn't want to talk to the twins or any of the other embers. I talked to the two most powerful people we know, and I talked to the two people who, if you asked them, would help us break some rules.
Well, okay, that makes our job exceptionally easier. I'm still probably going to be talking to Onyx in a bit.
Yeah, you should connect with her about it.
But I'm also going to be talking to the twins. I have an idea, and I think it would be a good idea for them to come back with us to enact this plan.
Can't say no to more bodies.
It helps to have more people who are strong enough to lift a dumbbell.
I can, first of all.
I know, both of us can, and I'm sure Nefе would argue she can, but we need people who can lift for long periods of time and not have Eleni's feet drag the floor.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Whoever you want to bring in on it, I don't have any complaints, really. He's quiet for a second as he's kind of just like looking over the first year campus. And he's gonna kind of like look over you and say, "How's she holding up?"
Better, technically.
Good.
I think seeing Eleni in general has helped a lot.
It's good to have them stable again, Jesus.
Yeah. It's nice to know that Eleni is stable, and I don't know, seeing seeing them like that was really messed up. So I kind of want to go faster now.
That's fair. That's fair. I had meant those two, but I get what you mean.
They're both doing a lot better. I didn't see how Nefei was after I left, but considering that she was asleep the entire time, probably really good, considering.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you my two ideas, and you don't have to give your thoughts. I honestly am trying to not put my weight into one more than the other, but we're going to be transporting Eleni either way. So it's either here or where the Shaper said we should go.
Oh yeah, that tree settlement they talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be really easy to talk to Flynn about it whenever we get back there, or it's going to be really hard. Either way, that's what William is for.
I'm sorry, that's no, I can't say that.
I'll ask you nicely to say it.
Nice to hear that he's just a hunk of muscle to you.
What? Are you worried?
Is that
Ugh. Ugh.
Okay, we don't have to make it a whole thing. Thank you. I know.
I only like trans people. Thank you.
Fair enough.
No. He isn't just a hunk of muscle. There's technically a brain rattling in there. It just happens to get clogged up with mushy stuff that isn't even like the soft, sweet, mushy stuff. It's cotton in his brain.
You know, it's really funny seeing somebody who is so intelligent be so stupid.
It's the same reason as Flynn. The obsession with making the right decision, as if even good ideas aren't nuanced.
Damn. I feel like Ashan looks at you and just fucking gives you a look as he mutters, "It's the white man."
It's the white mana. It's the white mana. It's a mess. They're messes. And it sucks because technically, next to them, we look fucking crazy. But it's just because we yell to make our point sometimes, and they're, oh, if you're yelling, then that means you've already lost the argument, motherfuckers. Ah.
Ah. Have we... Well, have y'all... No. can't push you to make a decision now. We have to care about what Flynn thinks.
She's pregnant, you know. You have to be nice to her.
I have to be nice to her. Okay. Then I guess there's people you gotta talk to, things you gotta research, plans you gotta make.
Yay. And she like does like a yay with her hands.
Mm-hmm. Work's never done.
It will be soon.
I think when it is, I'll find a nice little pond in the swamp and sit there.
I will watch you sit in the pond in the swamp. But couldn't you say like quicksand or something?
I guess I could find some hole somewhere on Lorehold. At least then it would be dry.
I'm sure if I'm desperate and tired enough, I will jump into a pond.
Yeah, I bet you would with how much time you spend over on Witherbloom now.
Oh, you can try and dig at me. I'm on my broom the entire time. What, do you want me to hang out and Lorehold with your roommates?
No. They're okay, I guess. They're kind of lame.
Are they boring? Are they cops?
No, not. There's an annoying amount of cops on Lorehold, if I'm honest with you, but they're fine. They're just a little boring.
Are they boring, or are we just planeswalkers now?
It is very hard to be as cool as I am. I'll give them that.
That's quite an audacious statement to make. I was just talking about planeswalking as a whole. We got a real tough guy right here. Do you think you'll be cool in Ravnica too?
I mean, is the average Ravnican cool?
That's I mean, if you want me to get into the conspiracy theories and propaganda, I was taught nobody but Golgari is cool, but I think other people are pretty chill.
Well, if they're chill, then I think I'll be okay.
We'll have to see. She's gonna like take a second and she's gonna like grip onto his arm for a second and say, I'll catch you whenever we're done talking to everybody.
Okay. Wait for me to make the jump back, okay?
Oh, always. I'm gonna see if we can get our boat back too and bring it to the Tuvasa.
Oh, that would be nice, actually, yeah.
You gotta show off all of our hard work.
It'll be a nice rest before we make everything go off.
A good interlude. You're right. And she's gonna give him a little smack on the corner of his eyebrow. She's gonna fluff his hair. And then she's gonna dip.
He's gonna grab your ass a little bit on the way out. Keep me posted.
I will. I promise you will hear too much.
And with that, you separate. Oh my god, gay people. I love them a lot.
Gay people in my Strixhaven game.
In my Strixhaven game. Hell yeah. Okay, cool. Okay. So,
Can you pause?
I would love to pause. All right, we're back live again. Okay, you are left to your devices to talk and kind of use this interlude to figure out the pieces to your plan. If the snarl is like a viable option. You could also reconnect with the people that Ashan talked to, which is Onyx, Dariga, Nim, and Kai. They at least all are updated on the situation, right? So you could ask them how they feel about certain things. You wanted to speak with the twins also. And then you wanted specifically to check in with Grayson. So what order do you think you're wanting to do these things?
I have it in a notepad.
Slay!
Motiva is going to go straight to Withered Bloom.
Okay.
And she's going to go to Onyx's office.
Okay, awesome.
Liliana's office.
Yes, Liliana is in her office.
She knocks and comes in.
Awesome. You feel like whenever you knock and then immediately open the door, Liliana looks and kind of like has a sharp look as if she's gonna like say something about it, but then she sees that it's you. And she kind of just sighs, and some of that sort of like tiredness comes to her. And she's putting aside something that she was writing and gestures for you to close the door and come sit. And she says, I heard that there are updates and that you've located Eleni. Well done. It feels like a hollow compliment, but it's faster than we would have been able to find them.
It isn't even the hard part.
I heard that as well. I was told that Eleni is in need of mana and has some issues stabilizing. For lack of a better way to describe it, it seems like their existence, Nyxborn, are a tricky subject, from what I recall. Do you have any different updates? Not that I think that Ashan would leave any out, but you and I think similarly.
Oh, she doesn't like that. She's not gonna say that, but she didn't like it. Motiva's gonna like nod, and she's going to say, I had some ideas for how to transport Eleni. That's so far the biggest issue that we're having so far. But I think I have come up with a solution. It just would require the help of faculty.
So, you are wanting to use the Snarl?
Yes.
I definitely think that it is the most powerful source of mana we have access to. I have seen many planes, and very few places have such a font of pure magic. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Motiva was just gonna be like agreeing, just being like, yeah. I think that's our best solution. My ultimate worries are transporting Eleni and The fact that I am still worried that whatever is in there, in that body that we call Eleni, is not them. Should I bring a blood sample?
Does
They don't have
Eleni
hair I
blood?
can cut. They have water.
I'm not sure. I have interacted with divinity, and Therosian divinity at that. Nyxborn and elementals are not unheard of things. I think what makes this difficult is the intersectionality of Eleni.
Pause real quick.
Okay. Okay, we're back. Onyx was just kind of talking about how she has no frame of reference for this.
Yeah. Motiva just shrugs. Can you turn off Hushmal for 10 minutes? Or can I at least try to get something?
The faculty would not allow me to do so, but I can tell you that I can.
I made a face. Oh, Miss Ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Ma'am, you understand the assignment.
Tell me when,
Motiva.
and I'll have it be done.
Shit, fuck. Motiva's gonna nod, and say it will be done.
All right.
I'm
You're
also
sure, then I'm
stealing
sure.
the twins.
They'll be two of the most useful people for this maneuver. Feel free to do so.
Thank you.
I am going to say this while you're here. I know that many of your concerns is that this person we bring back is not Eleni. I will not be callous and say that that is not tragic or upsetting. Regardless of who that soul thinks it is. If it's a planeswalker, then they belong here.
I'll get back to you and expand on something about that later. I'm not going to agree or disagree, but I happened to come across the Ixalan planeswalker.
Oh.
Again, not the time just yet. I'll get back to you about it later.
We do have more pertinent issues to deal with. I am interested, but if we want this to work with Eleni, we will have to be very precise. So that can be for later.
Okay, I'm going to go borrow the twins.
All right. Good luck.
She gives a salute and she hoofs it. She's
Slay.
gonna go to their dorm?
I was actually going to say I would prefer if you have these conversations one-on-one because you will get different answers when they're by themselves
Oh,
versus
yeah.
when they're together.
Oh, I was assuming that Will was at the dorm and Rowan was somewhere else.
Slay, so you want to talk to Will first?
Yeah.
Slay, you go up to the dorm, you knock, knock, knock. And Will opens it and kind of looks startled to see you. He actually goes to reach for you. I think he tries to hug you.
Yeah, Motivia will take it. She's just gonna
Nice.
be startled. She's gonna be like, oh, I thought you were gonna be disappointed.
He gives you a quick squeeze and he pulls you back with his hands on your shoulders and he says, "No, You're very capable. I know that if you're back here, then, well, things must not be on fire. How is everything?"
Well, it's not on fire. It's just in water.
Is
And
that
that's
a
the
pun?
good news. No, it is quite literal, in fact.
He goes to pull you into the dorm to talk.
Motiva's gonna come in and she's just gonna immediately go to fucking sit.
Yeah.
She's going to look up at Will and she's gonna say, I'm only going to offer this once. Hindsight is 2020 and something has come up where I realize that I need your and Rowan's help. Are you truly willing to come with me and Ashawn back to Ixalan?
Yes.
Well, amazing. That she kind of like looks at him and she's like, is that it?
Yes, anything that you need me to help you with.
Okay. So keep that anything in your pocket for a quick second before I explain what's going on because you might actually not like it.
I believe that. You don't ask me for help, Motiva. I'm going to take this very seriously. Because I know that this means something. Whenever you're ready, you can explain to me the details.
Okay. Eleni is alive, not thriving, is in a coma-like state. They are in a similar situation to how I was whenever I was turning into this, and she flaunts her fucking ears.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, whips her tail.
Yeah.
And she says they lack mana. They are essentially in a coma.
Mm-hmm.
They are able to send out semi-conscious spells. They used a spell on me. Something happened to Flynn. I don't know. It's magic that I don't understand. It's divine magic. I don't get it.
Okay.
But Eleni is made out of water.
Yes.
And they need mana.
I see.
So we're going to teleport from where they are back to the Biblioplex. And we're going to give them a very good soaking of mana. And hopefully it will, if we have the right professor around, flesh out the poison.
So you want to use the snarl?
Yes.
Motiva, that's very risky.
The other option that we have been given is a long trek across the entire continent of Ixalan.
You see that he's making a face where it's like one emotion kind of melds into the other and kind of melds into the other, and none of it is like angry, but a lot of it is like disconcerted. And
There is no good option.
No, there isn't, but how do we know that it won't destabilize them further? I meant what I said. I am taking this very seriously, and I know that you're coming to me and to Rowan for help because you need it. And so I'll help you, but Motiva, you're right, I don't like this.
That's why we have two strategies. There's the one that I like, and then the one that was given to us by the Tuvasa clan, by the speaker.
Okay. Well, I'll support you, and I'll support Falin no matter what she decides. I think when it comes down to it, I want to respect her decision in this.
I'm not going to bully a pregnant woman. I'll present the options that I have in my mind to her. It is her choice.
Okay. Then you have my full support.
Cool. Where's your sister?
She might be at the tavern or might be... she could be in the fields. Dueling Club has been very rigorous for the people left behind these days.
Okay. I'll try that first. And she's gonna go to the fields.
Awesome, you go to the fields and you go to find Rowan, and you see that Will is actually correct. A lot of sports teams are currently kind of like playing and horsing around. You see across the field that River is in the middle of a particularly rousing scrimmage of Silk Ball with Javanish. They seem to be doing okay. Which I think is good to hear. They don't seem to be back to their full self because a lot is happening right now, but they don't seem to be particularly upset in this moment. You think that stuff like this is good for them, you know?
Yeah, they're doing better than the last time she was here too.
Yeah.
Awoo.
You see Chad and Musim are currently kind of going through the motions of like a sparring duel, but it's like this thing happens with Musim, and you've seen it before, and it's like it's a little bit funny, but it's also a little bit sad, where it's like Musim has to kind of be taught how to play, so to speak, and not play too rough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's a duel, but it's a lot of like starting and stopping, and a lot of instruction from Chad, who mostly only knows how to fight instead of really fight.
Mm-hmm.
And you do see Rowan, who is currently kind of doing some forms by herself.
Miva is going to do a big old whistle, and she's gonna say, Rowan.
You see that it's enough to kind of startle her out of her swing, and she goes to look over, and you see that her expression almost like opens up immediately, and she's actually gonna run over to you. I think maybe like jog over to you. She leaves her sword near the training dummy that she was using, and she goes to say, Motiva, any news?
Yeah. How do you feel about getting off the bench? Do you want to help?
Anything you need. What do you need help with? You took you took a kind of solid group, yeah?
Yeah, but it turns out that we're only so strong.
I see. Well, I don't lack in that. And you see, she goes to kind of like flex a little bit, just like as a way to kind of like lift the mood, ease the tension, you know. But she kind of
Yeah.
like goes to look at you and says, "Come on, let's sit. Tell me about what you need. What kind of plans you got going on in there?"
She nods and she says, so the biggest plan is that either way, we are going back to Ixalan, and there's two major plans. Your brother has made it very clear that no matter what, the only opinion he's going to respect in the end is Valin's, which, fair enough. I need to stress that.
Mm-hmm.
There's two plans, and it's us grabbing Eleni from the pool, your brother freezing them, and us basically football tackling our way to the snarl and using it to revive them. They're in a coma.
Oh.
They are alive, though. They're just in a state.
Do you think that they'll be able to? Would someone in particular be doing the healing, or are we just gonna?
I'm gonna leave that to Onyx.
Mm,
I imagine Falin would be the one wanting to step up and heal. She's going to cover her mouth and she's going to send a message to Rowan.
okay.
She's going to send a message and it's going to be her saying, technically, Hashmal has to possibly be turned off whenever this happens. So whoever and whatever happens with the healing factor will be taken care of.
Okay.
We don't
This is
know
big.
if that's Eleni. Yeah, we don't know if that's Eleni still. I can't say it in front of Falin, but I don't know if that's Eleni as we know them.
From what I've been told, I don't think that that is a bad thing to worry about. I think choosing not to say it in front of Falin is fair. I think that it would be too cruel to say, but I understand. Okay. Well, someone will probably have to use the snarl to work magic for Eleni. There is the idea that Eleni could do it themselves, but it depends on if you think that whatever consciousness they have would be able to reach out for it. I don't know if people would like Falin doing it.
I don't like it either. I think she's a good healer. I don't think she's that good of a healer.
It's the snarl. It gives you power. It gives you a lot of power. But you have to be the one to not let it burn you out, I guess. I think that this is a very good idea. I think it would be dangerous for Falin to do it. If it were up to me, We can try and see if Eleni can help themselves, but if they can't, either Onyx or I would be willing to do it again. I'm not a healer, but it's hard to describe it, but when you pull from it, it feels like you can do anything. And I would rather it be me than her, I guess. In regards to Falin specifically. You get the feeling that Rowan is specifically worried about Falin doing it while pregnant. You know?
Pregnant.
Falin should be caring a lot about her health right now.
Yeah, Motiva's gonna nod along and say, no, she's not caring much about her health right now. I know that you and your brother have joint custody over your spark, and that's fine, but that is partially the reason why I'm okay with him coming.
I think that if she tries anything, he'll hopefully be able to talk her down from it.
Gods, I hope.
Sometimes they listen to each other. It's just they don't listen to themselves.
She's not listening to me anymore, Rowan. It's really scary. It's really hard. I don't think she's seeing me as her friend right now.
That's really
I
hard.
I think she's not with me. And neither is Nefei.
I know it's not the same, so it might not feel like this is relatable, but I feel that way a lot with Will, so I get it. When you're so tied together and you care, sometimes those lines get crossed. Parts of yourself are too similar and parts are just too different.
Yeah.
It's not advice. I don't really know how to fix it either, but I get it.
Thank you. The other option that I think your brother is more inclined towards is a very long road trip across Ixalan to find the recommended by the speaker font of magic that they think could help Eleni.
And they've been healing Eleni already?
Yeah. The third option, which is the one I don't know whether or not she'll do it, but the other one Falin is thinking about, I think, is the other one we were given, where we just leave them there for months.
Our whole hand sucks.
It is really bad. It's really bad, and it's in the hands of a pregnant woman.
It's in the mind of a pregnant woman, too. The other options, they feel like the safest option, but it's hard to call it safe when we don't know if it will work.
There's also the integrity of Eleni. Eleni's semi-conscious. They're sending out spells.
Who knows if taking longer to heal them means that we lose more of them.
Yeah.
Motiva, this sucks.
It does. It's hard. It's really hard.
I think if you want my opinion, I think we should set up for the Snarl plan and hope that we can coax Falin into thinking it's a good idea. I have experience with it, and Onyx is a very powerful planeswalker. We could do something, or if Eleni is conscious enough to try. If Eleni is conscious enough to use spells, then maybe they're conscious enough to have a survival instinct. If we're lucky, they can just reach out to the Snarl themselves and piece themselves back together. That's my vote. Historically, Will loves to tell me that my plans sound risky and stupid, so it's up to you if you think that too.
Me and Onyx are in the same boat as you.
Okay. Well, that's a relief, actually.
I promise it's not stupid or bad.
Sometimes I'm starting to think that if I have an idea, it's the one we shouldn't do.
Well, don't do that, but either way, prepare for either plan. Be rested, be ready, but also pack bags.
Yeah, bring stuff. I can do that.
We have a boat,
Oh, that's
and
good.
I have a
Oh,
cabin, and I'll get another tent.
okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. You get the feeling that she seemed excited and now she's like,
Yeah, but she is just like, I have a cabin, I have a tent. You can choose which one you want, I guess. There's also the boat if you want to sleep in that.
I have not so fun history with water and boats, but I'll deal with it for you.
She gives a handshake, and she says, I also hate water and boats. We'll make it.
Ah, same hat. Same hat.
You're picking up my language.
You've said it so many times.
Yeah. Motiva smiles and she says, either way, we're doing something.
Yeah. And whatever we do, I think will work. She doesn't sound super sure, but she sounds like she's trying to will it into place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, manifest.
Manifest that no option is bad. You know what I mean?
Manifest that all options are good, actually.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had them separated. I know it would have turned into an argument.
Oh, they would have been so mad. I was like, this is not going to be conducive if it's together at all.
Yeah. Motiva's gonna tell her, like, hey, go pack. Go tell your brother to pack. I forgot to tell him to pack.
I'll tell him. And we'll get ready for another adventure, like old times.
World's worst quest.
Well, I already had the world's worst quest, so jot that down.
Okay, well, it's my world's worst quest. We're gonna have a great time. I'll show you guys crawdads.
What the hell is a crawdad?
Oh my god, this is so... See, it's already exciting. Find the silver lining, Rowan. You get to planeswalk again.
Okay. Alright, get the rest of your stuff together and... Oh god, we're gonna have to time it so precisely. And you see that she's gonna walk away muttering to herself. You think that she's the most fucked up about the whole, like, legendary great maneuver with Oshmal turning off. Reboot button.
Yeah. Fair. Okay. It's time for boof.
Yeah, boof time. Step,
Boof
step, step,
time.
step, step. You can find Grayson. I'll say you can find him. in the star office.
Oh yeah. Is he a boof or is he a man?
It is a full moon, so he's a boof.
Oh my gosh! Hi.
You come over into the biblioplex and you kind of go through the myriad little twists and turns, and you get to the room. And you see that Grayson is kind of like nosing at pages of a like a folded out piece of paper with a bunch of writing on it. And he goes to like look up from his little, because you remember in the corner there's a little dog bed that he sits in whenever he's a dog, right? And you see that he kind of like looks over when he hears somebody walk in, and then he looks down, and then he like looks back up, and he stands up, and he just starts barking. Not like message barking, he's just barking at you.
Hi, hello. She like squats down and she like sits in front of him and she's just like, hi, Grayson.
He stares at you, and then he goes to like bite you in the elbow, and then he barks at you again, and he's like, don't hi Grayson me. What's happening?
A lot.
Yeah, I bet it's a lot.
I can't say that I'll be here too long, but I wanted to thank you. We found Eleni. And it's thanks to the information you gave us.
You see that Grayson just immediately falls on his side with a harumph. He lets off the fucking saddest little "oh" to do his like fucking message. And he says, oh, thank every single god that looks on Strixhaven. I wouldn't be able to look Bim in the face if she got fucked up and then it didn't even work.
Oh yeah, no, it was it was honestly one of the only reasons we found them so quickly. Please give my thanks.
I will. I don't know if the next time I'm gonna be able to ask people to do it, but I'm really glad that this helped.
You don't have to. Between this, I'll find another way. Ajahn has an ability in the works, and maybe in the meantime I can try and find a way to supplement myself with something similar, so that next time it'll be a lot faster.
He kind of like looks at you with these like mournful eyes, and he makes another little soft noise, and he's like, I'll still help.
I know. You're always wanting to help. He's gonna pat at him and she's gonna say, how have you been?
It's been busy and it's been stressful. It's always busy when you're stressed out, but everything's fine. School's been fine. Bim is recovering fine. She's not in the infirmary anymore. I would like everything to stop happening all at once. That would be really fantastic. That would be fantastic for me, Grayson.
The best man in the world, Grayson Wildemere?
Yes, the greatest, most rich and influential and smartest man in the world, Grayson Wildemere. Hi, hello, yes. He gives his paw to shake, and he says, I would like things to stop fucking happening.
Well, you are... Ew. She, like, takes her hand out of his palm. You're a third year. You're gonna be gone in 2 years.
Bark, 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 bark. This year just started.
Okay. And it feels like it's gonna end in 2 seconds if I blink.
Then don't blink.
Okay, I begin aura sight. This is genuine. This is
Nice.
slash genuine. Motiva's gonna nod along and say, also, Flynn is doing okay.
Good. I was worried about her. You see, he just trails off and doesn't finish his question.
What do you mean? Oh, the baby?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay. Look, I didn't know elves sometimes have delicate constitutions, okay?
She really does. Don't worry.
Okay. I'm nosy,
well,
but that wasn't me being nosy. That was me being worried.
Yeah, don't worry. You're allowed to be nosy. I constantly have to make sure. Did you know that she crammed a while back and she's still feeling the whiplash from it?
Yeah, I bet she does. Cramming doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
It's never worth it.
Yeah, no, she crammed. She's such a delicate little lady. Is Orisite picking up anything?
Yeah. So, attitude towards you, friendly. If there was a step above, no, helpful. There we go. If there was a step above helpful, Grayson would be it, right? But he's helpful, which is max. His apparent, mood, I would say stressed, but there is, like, this sag of relief to him, which is one of the reasons why you think he's willing to, like, banter with you like this, because he is being a bit, of a snot.
Insane.
Yeah, he's not really taking himself as seriously as he normally does. You think that it is like a combination of, from Orsite, of like excitement to see you and like relief that like it's not as dangerous. The last time you guys talked to anybody in Strixhaven, it was like go mode. We just had to find like Falin in the wilderness. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like it was like it's a big relief, and it's like he's kind of like manic on it almost. But about his health is fine. He looks a bit tired. But something that you would pick up on that I think is very fascinating, you can tell that he's not in heat. Not only from the aura site, but you also can't smell it on him.
It's gonna be weird, but it's okay. It's Motiva. Nothing is too weird for her. She's gonna, like, literally dig her nose into him.
Okay. You're gonna dig your nose into him and give a big sniff?
Yeah.
Nope, nothing. Like, you
He
smell
doesn't have
Grayson.
a reaction.
You smell Grayson, and there's, like, different levels of, like, animal smell that are there, but, like, it's not the one that you know is what he smells like when he's in heat. You know?
Yeah.
I don't think that he reacts. I think that, like, if anything, he probably thinks it's just you being weird and affectionate. You can't say that that's not incorrect.
That's what I'm saying. Nothing is too weird for Motiva. Nobody's gonna react to her doing weird shit. That's what the mask is.
Exactly. You do know from being with Grayson during full moons, on the actual night of the full moon, it should be the strongest. And he's able to do things on the full moon. It just sucks. But you can always smell it on him.
She's gonna, like, keep smelling him, and she's gonna say, "Are you okay? Are you taking blockers?"
Blockers are... I'm not gonna get into that conversation with you right now. That's a werewolf thing. Mind your business. Anyway, impolite to ask, but I understand it's you, so that's fine. I don't know. My cycle's been really irregular, I think, because I've been so stressed out. Because things keep happening, and people keep going missing.
If he...
This is the second one. This is the second one you've also seen, because he missed the last one when Eleni sparked. He got so stressed out, he also didn't have a heat.
Yeah, but she's gonna go, and she's gonna look at him, and she's gonna give, like, a sigh, and she's gonna, like, pat him, and she's gonna say, maybe you should talk to Nim about, like, anxiety meds.
Give your dog anxiety meds. I'll talk to Nim about it, but I've been putting off visiting my family for a while because of all this happening. Um, I can also go see our family doctor over there. He knows, he's a werewolf doctor, so
A
I
werewolf doctor for
I
the
trust
werewolf
I
boy.
trust Nim, but it's nice to go to somebody who has all of your family history already on paperwork.
I get you.
Yeah.
Will you not be able to do our trip then? Would it have
No,
to be put off?
No, I'll do the trip. It'll be just a couple days. It's fine. I'll go in,
Oh,
I'll
okay.
visit them, I'll come back, and we'll go.
Does he look excited?
I've been really looking forward to it. He doesn't look excited, but he looks like he's like tapping his toes coquettishly. And he goes to like admit to you, I have been very interested in the trip. Don't worry.
I'm glad. It will be nice to planeswalk and not be doing things. And you'll get to be a fool. It'll be great.
I get to be so stupid and nobody will know it's me, and I won't have to do anything at all.
Exactly.
God, I'm just thinking about it, and you see he like lays back down on the ground.
It's exciting, right?
It is.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. I actually think now this is cringe. This is cringe gay people in my phone. I think he's gonna basically like lean on you the entire time you're willing to stay here. Like I think you have to initiate leaving to go talk to other people if you have to talk to anybody else.
Yeah, I think Motiva would stay there for a minute because this is like the most pleasant of the conversations that she's had so far.
Mm-hmm.
So she's definitely like eventually like, okay, I have to go after like maybe an hour of like idle chit chat, like talking about stuff on Ixalan, but not explicitly like, oh, we had to deal with blah blah blah. She would just be like, I had to like take care of a bar for a day and blah 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 blah
Mhm.
blah.
Yeah, all of the fun stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she's just like, look at this cool stuff that happened. Never mind how stressed I was. The journey's a part of the end. But like after an hour, and she would be like petting him if it's like okay, just like patting and like getting excited.
Mhm.
But like after like an hour, she'd be like, okay, I'm gonna catch up Nim and Kai. I might have to talk to Nim about doctor stuff, but that's like not something exactly I want to do actually.
Is everything okay?
Eleni is in a bit of a coma.
Oh. I'm sorry.
The mana. It's fine.
Mana
It's just
sickness
similar
can
to
really get you.
yeah, it's just similar to what happened to me, so I know it's curable, but dealing with this is going to feel like the longest part. We have a lot of choices to make. But we found them, so that's the most important part.
That's good.
Okay. She's gonna bap bap, and she's gonna say, yeah, you need to get up.
Gravity is increasing upon me.
Okay. Shh. She's gonna lift him.
Unhand me. Bark, 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 bark.
Okay. Okay. You want me to unhand you like this? She like slowly puts him back on the bed. And she says, "Get some rest, Grayson. Don't need to be stressed about anybody anymore."
I'll try. I'm going to be stressed about all of you because that's just. It runs in the family, so I'm a worrier. What can I say?
Don't worry. Okay.
I'll try. I'll get some rest, and I'll see you when you come back, okay?
Okay. And she's gonna hop, step, jump over to the cabin.
And you're gonna jump to the cabin. I'll say that they're both there. I imagine that they both spend a lot of time together right now because they are a little worried about you, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel by the time you get over to the cabin and you kind of like lift one of the little curtains that are the door and walk in, you see that like Nim is like in the middle of like putting together something and like looks at the doorway, sees you, and then drops it.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome back. And there's like this moment where like they look at you and they look to the thing they dropped, and then they look at you and they look to the thing they dropped, and then they sigh, and then they're going to go to slowly pick it up, and they say, "I didn't expect you back so soon. You know, he was just here."
Who's he? Kai?
Don't play
Did I miss him?
coy with me.
Oh no, there's so many he's in the world.
I bet there are with you, huh?
Oh,
I'm kidding. Ashan came to give us a bit of an update. And you see that like they say it with a little bit of like a snit to it, you know what I mean? Come on. Kai is here. We have some things to talk about.
Okay. She sit.
You sit. One second, let me find the Nim Kai section. You see that Nim goes to sit down and Kai is there, and Kai actually does get up to kind of like pull you into like a big squeeze.
She takes it. She like kicks her legs up like she's being lifted into the ground. She's like, "Oh my goodness."
I'm glad you know that
Everybody's
he would
giving me
try, but
hugs
you're too
today.
tall.
He's strong enough, I think, that he could suspend her.
Oh yeah. And he's gonna say, well, somebody's gotta give you a welcome home hug. I mean, you deserve it. You've been... What's it? Go ahead.
No, it's a meta thing. I'm gonna wait. We have to be serious busy
Yes.
right now. We're on time limit.
We do have a time limit. We have like 14 minutes. We have to go.
Go.
He is gonna say, I mean, you've been traipsing around in the jungle for a week and dealing with pirates and other planeswalkers and comas.
Yeah.
Ashan.
You got it figured out.
Yeah. He made it sound like it was less serious than it might be. And Nim is gonna kind of speak up and say, I would like, if you could tell me a bit more about Eleni's condition so I can know how to, treat them when they come back, if you can.
Well, okay. They lack mana. It's similar to when I was in a state. In my eyes, they're conscious enough that they can send out spells. They're not conscious enough to go wandering around.
Nim goes to kind of nod and says, I don't think that that's an awful comparison, but I don't know if I would consider that the same as what you went through. Your mana sickness, if we want to give a vague term to it, it's a symptom really, it's like a fever, was because your mana was changing. I worry if they're unable to hold it, or if it's like a hemorrhage of some kind. It, to use medical terms, something like a transfusion might be what is needed, but that could take a lot. Last I remember, Eleni was very full of mana. It would be a lot to replace.
Being a created being does do that.
It does do that. Elementals are always finicky like that.
We're coming together with solutions. It's okay.
Yes. What's this about stealing Eleni
Oh,
to take
yes.
to the Snarl?
Well, we're going to ask very politely, the Tuvasa. We're going to ask politely. So there won't be any stealing.
Okay.
And then we'll take them to the Snarl. And have a professor handle it.
And what have the Tuvasa or Eleni been doing in their condition?
They have been the ones treating Eleni. Eleni is next to a very powerful font of magic and water. It's just not powerful enough. The other solution is to keep them there for maybe months.
I understand your concern. And I understand a want for quicker results. I'm glad you're asking for Professor's help, but as someone who is also a professional, I can tell you when someone is under treatment, changing doctors sometimes can save them and sometimes can damn them. If what the Tuvasa are doing is working, sometimes you don't have to change the treatment plan. Eleni and Flynn have, for lack of a better way to phrase it, the lifespan to be patient.
But even the Tuvasa are talking about taking Eleni somewhere else. Our other plan is to take a trip across Ixalan.
I suppose I can't speak for if that will work or not either. If I had them here, maybe I could have a better piece of advice to give you. You don't have to heed my advice. I just thought I would give the warning. Moving an injured individual sometimes can do more harm than people realize, I think. But it sounded like if you do need Strixhaven to help Eleni, I will put every bit of resource and training I have to make it work. I hope you know that.
I know. My biggest hope is a naive one, but I hope that at the end everything can... She covers her head and she says, It's a foolish thought, but my biggest hope is that in the end, all we have to worry about is physical rehabilitation.
I don't think that that's naive. I think that it's a realistic and rational hope. I think having a best case scenario in mind doesn't make you naive or unrealistic. Elaney has you both with them, a lot of people with them, and will have a lot of people helping them. And we will have to know that that is enough. Because my next piece of advice is that if it isn't, then nothing would have been. Okay?
Okay.
All we can do is our best. And they have a really good shot with how many people are here. And how many people are there.
I understand your want to help, but my biggest jump was to make Onyx the one to treat Elaney. Whenever Flynn tried to do something, she passed out.
You actually see that there's like a twinge in Nim's eyebrows. You don't think you would have caught it if you didn't know them so well. And they go to kind of pause and think about their next words kind of carefully. And they say, whatever help you want from me is whatever I will do, even if that means that you don't want me to use any healing magics. I worry about asking Professor Onyx to be the one to do it. From what I understand, her specialty is necrotic arts.